What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to an all-new episode of TAETRO Talks. Here we are every Tuesday, and it's a call-in show, but who is this? We already have a caller on the line. Hello? Is that Ableton Certified Trainer 343 Labs co-founder Max Wild?
That's right. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hey, Nick, glad to be on TAETRO Talks. I believe this is my debut. I'm honored to be here.
It truly is a special day. Live 11 is out, special guest on the show. We both got Ableton hoodies on. You've got your Ableton hoodie. I've got my 343 Labs push hoodie. What a special day.
That's right. I was super excited. There's been a lot of, the beta was announced in November, and as an Ableton certified trainer, we kind of get a bit of the lowdown, and we were, able to test it out all this time, but we didn't know what the actual day was going to be.
That's crazy.
And then they announced it last week, and we were like, oh,
that's wild.
Yeah, super excited.
I find it so funny how they are, like how they don't even say like what the date is going to be that they release it. Like we were just waiting. Like we found out as soon as everybody else found out. That's crazy. So it's hard to prepare.
That's right. And the other cool thing is that the time it took from Live 9 to Live 10 was around, I want to say 3 or 4 years. But then the time it took from Live 10 to 11 was only 2 years.
I was so surprised.
Crazy. So Ableton has been super busy.
Yeah, the rumor, I did a video on this like rumor that Ableton was putting out this like hardware thing, this standalone hardware thing, and that was like determined to be just a rumor, just a doctored photo. And right after that, I got invited to this secret meeting with a bunch of other artists in Ableton, and I thought, okay, like there's got to be something. I never expected it to be Live 11 because, like you said, it's been such a short turnaround.
That's right. Same with us. I mean, the certified trainers, we get like, we have like these trainer meetings, and we didn't know it was coming either. We was just like, okay, that's just like another meeting.
Yeah.
We just I was like almost didn't show up. And I was like, okay, I'll go. And then they were like, here it is.
Insane. And there are lots of very cool new features, which I want to get into, like asking you about, like what are some of your new favorite features. But real quick, I want to remind everybody that today is a call-in show. So you can call in, ask your questions. We can talk about Live 11. You can ask other creative questions around being a home studio music producer, motivational, etc., even marketing, perhaps, if you want. I see lots of people in chat already, and I know there's folks in the call waiting room. Going to chat with Max for a bit since he is a live certified trainer, and today's the live release day. But first, I want to say hello to folks in the chat. Adrian Vasquez, Samuel Messiah. Got a couple members in the chat. Phil, Joseph McCaffrey is holding it down as the mod today. HBTV is here as well. Hello, everybody. I saw Samuel Messiah. Shout out to everybody who entered the competition recently. It ended yesterday, and I still have to go through all the entries, but they're all looking really, really good. And we're streaming later tonight, too, working with some of the new features of Live 11. Beisha's here. Hey, what's up? Nightbot is posting the link for the call-in, by the way. So check for that in the chat. Nightbot posts every once in a while, but Nightbot has already posted to call into today's show. Click this link. You click that link, you get put into the waiting room. So make sure you join the waiting room, and I will take your calls as they come. But let's get into talking more about Ableton Live 11. Also, let us know in the chat if you have downloaded Live 11, if you're excited, if you're on the fence, if you're not going to download Live 11. Let us know the opinions and all that in the chat. Max, what are some of your favorite new features of Live 11 so far? I know it's been a limited time with it, but what's making you most excited?
Well, it's funny you ask, or I've got to say that as a music theory nerd, as you guys know, I have a show on Theory Thursdays called Theory Thursdays on 343 TV every Thursday, and so I'm a bit of a theory nerd, and I love the new feature that we now have flats in not just sharps on the MIDI roll.
What a nerdy thing. That's so funny.
Right? It's like such a small thing, but to me that's a really big deal. And now you can not only can you express flats, but you have a scale mode
Yes.
in the MIDI in the clip view, where you can you can select the root of your key. You can select different scales, so major, minor, uh, Dorian, all the different modes, harmonic minor, natural minor. And then not only will it kind of uh, go to that scale, but it'll show you all the notes that are in that scale. And to take it one step further, if you want to be just in that scale, you can fold it before you draw any notes in, meaning that you can't play any wrong notes. So if you're new to music theory, you don't know your scales that well yet, then it's awesome for that.
Yeah, that's great for teachers and students and people just learning. Because I think about using an instrument like push, like a grid instrument where you're locked in key. Like that's one of the big benefits of it is like you can be locked in a key. You don't have to worry about playing wrong notes. Right. And now if you can do that right in the piano roll, that is so dope. A feature that,
and the cool thing about it is that, well, you know, we had the MIDI feature, the scale tool MIDI device, which also kind of pushes you into the right key. But the thing is that you couldn't see what was going on. This actually lets you see visually on the piano roll what the right notes are. So then from a like educational point of view, it's a lot easier to show people why, you know, how many half steps, how many whole steps a certain scale has, what notes, rather than just relying on ear.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited. There's a lot of features that I have not tried out yet. Comping has been amazing. I'm going to demo that in tonight's stream, some comping stuff, but also it's huge. For those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically a way for you to do like multiple takes of one part. Say I want to sing a verse of a track and I want to record it 8 times, but out of those 8 times, I want to choose the first phrase of take 1, the second phrase of take 3, and kind of put it all together as this Frankenstein's monster of one perfect take. Comping makes that 1,000 times easier in Live 11, long-awaited feature. Today, this morning, I was playing around a little bit with the MPE features. Not only
hold your thought, Nick. I'm gonna MPE just reminded me of something.
Got it. All right. So for folks who don't know, MPE, MIDI polyphonic expression, like if you've seen me use the Seaboard block, or if you've seen me use like Sensormorph, just an added layer of expression you don't get out of a normal keyboard. There's also bundled sounds with Live 11 from Spitfire Audio, the upright piano. Oh yes, the Morph. That is an MPE controller right there, and I've got mine right here. I'm going to use it on stream tonight to demonstrate some of that MPE stuff.
So this is the Morph, and the Morph is really cool. It's there you go. It's about the size of an iPad, and you can also charge it like an iPad. And it has all these cool overlays, which Nick is showing you.
These are the two I use the most, so like for Beatmakers, and then this is the piano one.
Right.
But for those of you who aren't sure about MPE, like I can push hard on this controller, soft, I can drag up, drag down, and I can also bend between notes. And previously in other versions of Live, it was really hard to have Live handle that kind of MIDI, the MPE. But now it is fully baked into Live 11, so I just plug in this controller and I can fully play the MPE instruments. But what I was mentioning, Max, before you sat back down, was about the Spitfire Audio instruments that are being included in Live 11. There's the string quartet, brass quartet, and then there's also an upright piano. I was messing with the strings this morning with MPE, and they sound so good. It's like a really good string quartet. Yeah, like
what controller do you use for, or are you just drawing it in Live 11?
I was playing a little bit with the Seaboard block to test, and then I was also playing it with the Morph, and it just feels so good to be able to. You can get really natural like acoustic string sounds with the MPE. Like it makes it 10 times better, and because there's MPE versions.
What would you say?
Go ahead.
What would you say is the difference between the Roly C block and the Morph in terms of like functionality and playability?
Well, I can't reach my Seaboard block. Well, the Sensormorph, as we can all see, is flat. It's and you don't really like sink into it. You sink into it a little bit because of the material, but the Seaboard block does have the advantage of like you actually sink into the membrane of it, so you can feel it a little more. But the flatness of the Sensimorph is actually an advantage when it comes to sliding, because you can slide right to the next note, whereas on the Seaboard block there's like grooves in between. And I've got other controllers like the Lumi, which has individual pitch bend and stuff like that, which is really cool. I want to do even more with the MPE, but I'm so excited that I don't have to download like another DAW or something, or set up 16 MIDI tracks just to get my MPE to work, you know?
Right, right. And that's another cool feature, which is also to do with expression,
Yeah.
not MPE, but the note probability and note chance,
Oh, yeah.
which is huge. So now when you have a MIDI pattern, you can select it and you can change the velocity and change the probability of a certain velocity happening. And you can also change the probability of notes even being played. So like if you have a hi-hat pattern, this is great, like creating variation in those. If you have like a string of 16th notes and you want to change the velocity, you just hit the expression on the velocity, and you can hit the probability on the notes actually playing. So
Yeah.
it's amazing for that.
Great performance tool. I know a lot of Electron gear is really known for having really cool features that have to do with probability. Like you can have a loop running and it could be just a simple drum loop, but adding some probability to certain hits, especially if you want to do a fill at the end of a loop that you don't want to happen every time, like setting the probability to really low so it only happens sometimes. I'm excited to play with that. That's going to be a great performance tool for sure. Hey, I heard that 343 Labs is working on an amazing tool, free tool for for live users who maybe are just getting started or maybe need another resource in learning live and learning all these features and functions of live. Is that true?
I don't know what you've been hearing then. No, that's absolutely correct. So we wanted to do something special for the release of Live 11, and what we did is we put together a video handbook, which is a Live 11. It's pretty much a course, which consists of 60 videos presented and recorded by our own 343 Labs instructor and Ableton certified trainer Claire Lim, aka Doltrick, who has her own show on 343 TV every Monday. She's amazing. She put so much work into it, and I know that you also helped us with the direction of that, of kind of shooting those videos. So we're super happy. The course is kind of a supplement or a complements our live instructional courses that are taught by our instructors that you see on 343 TV, that are taught in real time on Zoom. But they're also standalone. So we wanted to make this a free learning tool for our community. We just dropped it literally an hour ago. You can find it on 343labs.com. Download it. It's not downloadable. You can watch it on our. You kind of create an account and then you watch it there. But yeah, check it out. It's free, and I think we did. It's super high quality, and the way we're releasing it is we're releasing a couple videos every week. So we just released 6 of the first videos. Next week we'll be releasing another couple of videos, and there's 60 altogether. So also just to know, this video course is for real beginners to we'll be teaching you how to make your first track. So if the first couple of videos are too easy, then just bear with us. It's gonna progress.
Yeah, like we talked about with like not knowing when Live 11 is officially going to drop and all that, we were working against that clock. So it's going to build up to be a true handbook that you will literally be able to reference any of these 60 videos for any of the features that you get stuck on. So right now we're starting very, very basic, and then each week rolling out more and more videos so that as you're learning Live 11, if you are new to the DAW, you can keep up with it. And maybe it's not too much all at once, but by the end, as long as you're signed up, you have an account, and you're able to access all the videos, you'll have this full handbook that you can go back and reference, and it's taught by Claire and Daltrick. A lot of you know Daltrick, so I think you all will really enjoy the video handbook. Is it 343labs.com/handbook?
Yes, 343labs.com/handbook. And we are also going to be releasing a PDF manual, which will kind of mirror the videos.
Nice.
We'll be releasing that in the next couple of days.
Awesome. All right, Max, I
Yeah.
have a few folks that are ready to call in, so I think this is our time to
Great.
part. I want to thank you for
Okay,
coming
cool.
on the show.
Thank you, Nick. It's always a pleasure. And guys, come check out my show on 343 TV every Thursday. Theory Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central Time. I will see you soon. Thanks, Nick.
Yes. See you, Max. Thanks for calling in. All right. Thanks, Max, again for calling in. That was great to have an Ableton certified trainer on the line while we are celebrating the release of Live 11. I'm going to exit full screen on Zoom here. And we have a couple people waiting in the waiting room for calls. So I'm going to start taking calls from the waiting room. So make sure you get in now while you can, because I want to make sure we have enough time to take as many calls as possible. Thank you, Codeless, for donating the $5. I appreciate it. Let me answer this question real quick. Some other content maybe for later. How to get my 10-year-old started without overwhelming, frustrating him. He got MPK Mini for Christmas. The best way for young kids, I think, to start getting into this is for sure a lot of apps that are available. Like even if you get the kid an iPad just for music making, or if they already have an iPhone, or if you have an iPhone, there are lots of great apps that are super accessible. One being Groovebox. iPhones also come with GarageBand, which is very accessible. Those are the easiest ways to get started. And with the right dongle, you can hook up the MPK to a phone or an iPad, and you can get it all working. And we're Nick and Joe. All right. I want to jump into the calls today, so please call in with your creative questions, thoughts on Live 11, favorite new features. You don't have to call in on video. I know Max is on video, but we'll take mostly audio. Don't be shy. I would love to get you on just chatting about your process, your home studio, your questions, motivational questions. Don't call in and ask me what MIDI controller you should buy. Don't call and ask me why you can't, that you're having trouble installing XYZ software, XYZ controller. None of that. Let's make it something everybody can take value from. So Adish, I'm bringing you on. Please make sure when I bring you onto the show, you mute the stream so we don't get a crazy echo and it's not on a crazy delay, even though it shouldn't be on a crazy delay. But hello, I know I was neglecting the chat for the first half, but I'm glad that you are all here. Check Nightbot for the link to call in. And Adish, am I saying that right?
Hello. Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Hi, what's up?
Not much. How do I say your name?
Adish.
Adish. All right.
Yep.
Well, thank you for calling in. Where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from India.
Amazing. It's late over there, right?
Yeah, it's about 12 in the night.
Wow, midnight. Well, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in so late at night. What do you got for us today? What's your question? What's on your mind?
Yeah, so nothing about Live 11 as such, but in general, my artistic career is
Sure.
sort of out of place. And so I've been producing for about 10 years now. And I signed up a couple of record labels and stuff. Probably around 2015, 2016 is when I had my last release.
Nice. Well, that's been a while, actually.
Yeah. And then I had to take a break. I had to do an MBA and stuff.
Casual.
So
casual. I had to do an MBA. Well, that's amazing.
Yeah, parental pressure.
For sure.
Yeah, so now it's been about like 2 years since I've gotten back to producing. I mean, I'm just doing some random stuff online and stuff. So now the problem I have is I'm not able to pick a genre or a style for myself. Like
Right.
there are times when I like techno, uh, and I'm just like I can be the next big techno artist. Then the next week I get into psytrance suddenly. Then I'm thinking like, should I produce psytrance and perform psytrance? And then through the week I see your videos as well, and then I'm like, should I do what TAETRO does?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much confused, and I'm not clear as to how do I pick a genre, or how do I go about this?
Got it.
So
Well,
previously, I used to produce progressive house.
yeah, let me
Uh,
ask you a question. What's the goal with
yeah, yeah.
music for you? Like, are you going to pursue whatever the MBA will take you to pursue, or do you want to be a professional
Yes. So
musician? Is that the ultimate goal, or is music just a hobby? It's just something you do for fun? Like, what would you like? Like, what is the goal?
my ultimate goal would be to like do gigs. I mean, I
Sure.
used to gig before going to college. uh, so I used to gig around the country. Probably I toured to around 3 metro cities over here, and I was going well, but then I had to do this
Right. You had to
stuff.
go to
And
school.
currently I am doing a job. I work as a marketing associate and stuff. So
Nice.
yeah, my ultimate goal is to perform. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
You want to be full
music.
time. You
Yeah.
want to be a full time music
Yes, yes,
performer and
yes,
make records and go out
yes,
and perform
yes.
them. Well, that's great that you
Yeah.
know that that is a goal, and it's also not a disadvantage that you're into all different genres. I have two places my mind goes is how can you
Mm-hmm.
combine all these influences and genres into something new? Can you take a little of this from the psytrance and a little of that from the progressive house and a little of that from like what TAETRO does, and can you combine it to make something new? That's one thought. The other thought is try all of these things, make tracks in all of these different genres, and be super not strict about the genres, but try to keep them in their boxes, and then put it out
Mm-hmm.
there, put it out on social media, put it out on different blogs or whatever. Share it around and see which of those gets the most attention. Which of those do people pay most attention to? And pick one, because you're all like, as a musician, for me as well, like you all see me make certain kinds of music on stream or on my Instagram or whatever, but then like outside of streams and outside of doing this stuff, I make totally different kinds of music, and it's no lesser, but I know what my audience is into, and I built an audience around certain kinds of genres and certain questions. So my thoughts for you are potentially set a date for yourself and say, hey, I'm going to try a bunch of different things. I'm going to put a bunch of stuff out there. I'm going to see where the fish are biting, And then if I figure out, okay, this kind of bait makes most of the fish bite, I'm going to go hard into this section as like my professional artist facing persona. I'm going to be the progressive house guy, or I'm going to be the psytrance guy, whichever one of those works the best. And you're just going to commit to that being your profession, your persona facing musician side of things. You know what I mean? Because when you pick that thing, it's not like you're saying, okay, all these other genres, I'm never going to make them again. It just means that the effort you're going to put in, you only have so much effort to give and only so much time. So the effort you're going to put in and the time you're going to put into finishing tracks that go out to be released and go out to be performed need to have some sort of focus. And if you base that focus on, okay, I've done the research, I figured out people really like my progressive house stuff, I'm going to go head first into that, put my time into that, go out and perform that genre of music, focus on it. This is my artist persona. And then one day, maybe 1, 2, 3 years go by and you build up a nice little career. You start doing a lot of gigs. People start giving you a lot of attention. People start showing up for you. So maybe after 3 years, when you are getting a little bored of the progressive house thing, you say, let me inject some of my little psytrance style stuff in here and see what people think. Now that people are showing up for you and not just the music, they're gonna stick with you. You know what I mean? There'll be some people that say, I just want what you always do, but there'll be some people that stick with you forever, and those are the people that matter the most. So I say at the beginning, it's important to test, see what people like, and then put your focus into that so you can start building your career and be very focused in that way. Build up your artist brand, build up your artist name, and then you can slowly start to branch out because you'll have that brand leverage and you'll have some solid fans and people that come to you for you, not just for the specific style of music. Does all that make sense?
Yeah, pretty much I do. But the problem I face, I do 1 minute beat videos and stuff right now, but
Totally.
it's not genre specific or anything. It's just whatever comes to my mind, I just do it, and I just put it up on YouTube and other platforms. but I'm not able to like channelize all the influences into one piece of art or one, one track where I want all my influences to come into one track. I doubt if it's possible. Do you think it's possible?
I think it totally is possible. And in my, well, it's possible to a degree. You're not going to have every single aspect of every genre that you love come through in every track that you have, and that's okay. But for me, in making my music, I try to inject as much of my pop music sensibility, and then as much as like my hip hop or trap influence, and then whatever's influencing me at the time. Like a beat went out today that I did with Sneak Energy for their drop, and I included some electric guitar in it. You know, that comes from my rock background. So does that track have every one of my influences in it? Does it have my K-pop influence and my trap influence and my rock influence and my pop punk? No, it doesn't have all those things. It has a selection of those things, but you can't try to cram too much in the box, and it's totally okay. If you want to build up your artist name that way by combining a bunch of your influences, just don't be too strict with yourself with the rules, or you're going to spend all your time being indecisive about what track you should put out, what track you shouldn't put out. You should find a focus, find your sound, and just start putting stuff out on a regular basis and stop thinking about it so much. Just put it out, be like, this is me, this is who I am. Today I'm releasing this track, tomorrow I'm releasing that track, and they are connected because I'm the one who created them, and I am including some of all of my influences in each of these tracks, and people will be here for it, you know?
Oh, got it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Probably I need.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'll probably need more calls.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You can call in every time we have a call-in show, but just not thinking about it so much, committing, and then just going out, making stuff and putting it out there is the most important thing you can do, and not getting too caught up in labels. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give you.
Yeah, man.
Adish,
Thanks.
thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yes. I want to like thank you, man. Like,
Thank you.
I've learned a lot from you, from your content.
I appreciate it. Thank you for saying that. You should get some sleep. Sleep is an important part of the creative process. It's midnight there.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Cool. Yep.
Peace out. Great call. I wonder how many other people in the chat right now are struggling with that, trying to pick a genre, etc. I mean, I produce a lot of music, and if you watch my all the music I made in January video, I go through all of the music I made in January literally, and some of it you all would have never seen because it doesn't make sense to put on the channel. By the way, I've seen a couple other members join the chat. So what's up, Loic? Thank you for joining in the chat. I believe I saw Jonathan Rodriguez as well. I saw somebody else. Was it Tanner? I think I saw Tanner join. Jeff De Silva in the house. What's up? Taylor Deemer. Hello. Sorry if you're a member and I missed your name. I apologize. Thank you all for hanging out today. It's a call-in show, so make sure you check Nightbot for the link so that you can call in on Zoom. It's just audio. It's super chill. I'm going to bring in another caller now, though. How about Lorenzo? Let's get Lorenzo in here. We, of course, will have our Samuel Says segment quite soon. Safia, Sakitha, I see you. Candy, Mike Bueno, what's up? Raghav, Mudstone, Mike. Sorry, I can't necessarily say hi to everybody. It's so hard. Oh, I didn't mean to hide that message. Oops. Somebody put me in charge. Lorenzo, can you hear me? Can't hear you, Lorenzo. Make sure you check your microphone. Oh. Hello, Lorenzo. Can you hear me? I don't hear you, Lorenzo. I'll give you a couple minutes while I just answer chat, and then just chime in when you think you have your mic all set. Check the bottom left, that little microphone icon. Make sure the proper microphone is selected as your input device. Ray Calvin says, so the only difference between Live 11, Standard, and Suite is Max for Live. Let's look into that in between calls. I'll bring up the comparison sheet. I love the Bernie on your shelf. Thanks, Benzi. My mom made that. Where's your Zoom link again? Nightbot just posted it. Pretom says, hi, what do you do for a living? Here I am. Doing it for a living. You think 343 ever would teach Bitwig? Probably, Mike Bueno, because actually, let me just go to not the wide cam, but hi, wide cam, chat screen. I think 343 could eventually do a Bitwig class because Abe Duque is a Bitwig certified trainer, and he's really great. All right, Lorenzo, I'm going to bump you back to the waiting room. And if you can figure out the mic situation, I'll bring you back in. But I got Misha waiting in the waiting room. So let's bring Misha in. Guys, make sure your input device is all set and selected, etc. Hi, Misha. Welcome to the show. Make sure you pause the stream because it'll be on a delay.
How are you, my man?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for taking the call.
Yeah, no problem. Where are you calling in from today?
Toronto, man.
Toronto. How are things up there? Cold?
You know what? I feel like we're getting a bit of, I guess, global warming because it hasn't been that bad.
Oh, that's good. Good to hear. Awesome. Well,
yeah, how about yourself?
You know, it's been warming up here in LA, actually. It was a little chilly at like 70 degrees for the past week. It was a little chilly. I had to put a hoodie on, but it was like 80 yesterday. So it was warming up. I hope to get out in the van again real soon. But thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. What's your question today? What do you want to talk about?
Okay. Well, first, I want to say thank you to you because I've sort of discovered you randomly on YouTube and just been watching your videos.
Perfect.
And it's inspired me to make some music. So I got like a little controller and I'm on Ableton. So I have a two-part question. The first one is very technical, very quick. I'm sure I can like find content for it as well. But just if you have like an off top of the head opinion is on headphones.
Yeah.
I'm using Shure SRH 440s, which are closed.
Nice.
So I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on like an upgrade for that. Should I go open, things like that, just to really get like deeper into my experience of enjoying and creating music?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm definitely not a mix engineer. Like I don't get too crazy into acoustics or anything like that. But so that's it. I've never used open back headphones. But the Shure SR H440s were like one of my first pairs of mixing headphones. So that's cool that you chose those. It's been a long time. Right now, the headphones I'm wearing, which are currently my favorite headphones, are the JBL Club 1s. Now, these are like more like a consumer centric, like they're less like mixing headphones and more, I guess, you know, for the consumer market, like people just listen to music. But I really like them. And I really like the bass response. Status Audio's got some good quality stuff for pretty inexpensive. These Club 100s might be, or Club 1s, I should say, are probably a little overpriced because they have Bluetooth and then they have noise canceling. Not that I use that all the time, but in terms of bass response, but a lot of the headphones overdo the bass response is what I'm finding, especially consumer-centric ones like Beats by Dre, that kind of thing. They have too much bass. And maybe actually... Zach M in the chat is typing about the Bear Dynamic headphones. A lot of people are into those. And folks in the chat, if you have a great pair of headphones that you use, please leave suggestions. But I use these JBL Club ones, and I love them. They're my go-to headphones at the moment, for sure. There's also another really interesting company you should check out is AI. That's all one like word, I guess. But they do modular headphones, and you can actually build them. Like on their site, you buy all the components and then you build them. It sounds scary, but I was able to do it, so it can't be that scary. But those are like my very lightweight, comfortable headphones that I use. I forget what configuration I have, but you can look at the different, all the different components and sort of build your own. That's worth checking out as well.
Cool, amazing. I appreciate that, and I'm seeing all of the comments in the chat too.
Yeah.
Can I ask you just one more question, if you don't mind?
Yeah, go for it.
So the second one is more to do with sort of where I am with my journey, which is I'm a video editor. So the appeal of Ableton and just like seeing the, being able to make music. I'm still learning it, and I have ADHD, meaning that I'm like really have a hard time with like doing like long tutorials or long videos.
I have I don't have ADHD or anything, but I have a very short attention span for sure.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to do and what I've been doing so far is just playing in the live play. and just like mixing music and just seeing what it sounds like, and like slowly making like decent noises that I think go well
Awesome.
together. So I'm at that stage. So I guess if you have any sort of advice for someone in my position to take it to like a level of like, okay, well, I actually want to export this and then put it on my put it on a video for my clients, like a really like chill, like nothing too fancy, like pretty low volume. So again, I guess less from a technical perspective, but more from like a high level. Is there anything that you sort of remember when you were at this stage, and you sharing that you also have that same experience? Any sort of suggestions for me?
Well, did you know that you can drag video clips into live? Have you experimented with that at all?
Drag video clips.
Yeah, so you can drag video into live. And I've worked on a couple scoring projects. I haven't worked on one in a while, but it is useful that either in arrangement view or session view, you can drag in video clips. So if I was scoring something, for instance, you can drag a cut of your video right into one of the audio tracks, and then live, you can go and open up a video window and you can score right to the video right on that timeline. You can also switch live's timeline usually indicates like bars and beats over time. You can also switch it to time code. And I'm not that deep in the video editing world, but I don't know, maybe that would be helpful for you. But that's something to know, that you can drag video clips in. Not only can you drag video clips in, but with one of the new features in Live 11, and this gets into really technical stuff, I talked about it earlier, comping, where you can do multiple takes of one kind of line is kind of what it is. I sing a verse, I want to do 8 takes of it, and then combine those 8 takes to make one good take, But take that same concept and apply it to video, where you can take 8 lanes of video, they could be all different video, and then cut them to the beat of a track. Like that could be another useful creative way to experiment with that feature and video, because live makes it really, really fluid. Of course, it can be done with in a video editor. You can cut to the beat, no problem. But in live's grid, where it already is cut to time and it is already the place you're making the music, it's something worth experimenting. I think there's a lot of possibilities with live and video. And you can export video. Like if you're working in video from live, you can export like an MP4 or something right from video. So usually what I would do, I probably wouldn't export like, my final export out of live, but I would score to it, and then I could export at least a demo to like show a client or to show like do a round of revision. And then when it comes time to do the final, I just export the audio separately, put it into like a proper video editing software, and then do all that stuff,
Amazing. I didn't know that's a possibility, and just want to say I appreciate you making this so like friendly and just like accessible, man. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much for calling in, Misha. Have a good one.
You too, my man. Peace.
Peace. Yeah, accessible is the thing, folks, because a lot of people make things not accessible. A lot of people explain things in ways that there's no way anybody who's never heard of what you're talking about before could possibly understand. Real quick, before we take the next couple calls, and I see you all in the waiting room, thank you. I hope you're able to be patient and wait your turn. I want to just take a look at this, because there was a question about the versions. So let's take a look at the versions. Live intro, $99. Live standard, $449. And suite. So this is like the biggest version, includes the most things. So let's see the differences. There was a question about differences. So right off the bat, when you get to standard, you get unlimited audio, unlimited scenes. Limitations start getting lifted right away once you get to standard, of course. But let's see, what's the biggest difference between standard and suite? If you're on the fence about those things. I'm using suite. I've used suite since Live 8. Seems like the biggest difference is indeed Max for Live. So whoever said that in the chat, it seems as though you are correct. But take a closer look. The instruments that are packed in. So sounds in general, 5,000 plus sounds. So you're getting the 70 gigabyte plus library with Suite versus the 10. So this is the difference in the packs that you get. You can take a look at that list. Get a better idea of what's included. So that's a very big difference beyond just the Max for Live. Software instruments seems to be another big difference as well. These are all pretty good and standard. I mean, even you can do so much with even just live light. Operator, poly, sampler, which is the upgraded version of simpler, and then wavetable, which is not available in the other versions. Audio effects. We go from 21 to 36 to 59 audio effects. Things that are highlighted in green are things that are new to Live 11. Big standout. Oh, I guess that's not true. I guess the things under new in Live 11 are new. Big standout is hybrid reverb coming in sweet. That's the big standout for me. Let's click through MIDI effects. We go from 11 to 13 to 15, which is not that huge. However, MPE control. Oh, you get MPE control in all versions. Great. What else? What goes beyond? Envelope MIDI, expression control, MIDI monitor, melodic steps, rotating rhythm generator. I think the MIDI effects are probably the least interesting for some of you who are just starting out. Yeah, so those are the main differences. I just wanted to dip in and check that out because I know some of you are curious. I do like that they have these payment plans. I'm assuming that these are no interest payment plans. So if you want to pay for it over time, I did that with one of my early MacBooks. I think I did that with one of my versions of Live. Can't remember. I've done pay over time though, but I was not able to drop a whole bunch of cash on one piece of software. Paying over time is not a bad idea as long as you're financially responsible and know that you can pay that much over time. So take advantage if you can. Also, today we're just talking. This is TAETRO Talks. So if some of you are like, why the heck are we just doing a talk show today and not playing with Live 11? Well, we will be doing that. And we're doing that tonight at 7 p.m. PST. For some of you, maybe that's morning. But I hope you all can join because that should be a fun show. All right, I want to get back to the calls because we have a few waiting. Lorenzo, I'm going to give you one more shot, my friend. Hopefully Lorenzo's got the mic situation all figured out. When you buy a live version, do you also have updates or do you have to buy it again? Oh, Lorenzo, I can hear you. Make sure but I can hear myself too, so just mute that.
Yeah, I just muted the mic. Sorry.
Perfect, no problem. I'm going to... Loic, I'm going to answer your question right after we take this call, so don't let me forget. But Lorenzo, I'm glad you figured out your mic situation. Thanks for coming on the show. Where are you calling in from?
Yeah, I'm calling in from Washington State, Seattle.
Nice. Well, welcome. I'm glad you're able to call in. What is your question today?
Yeah, well, first of all, if I could, I really appreciate everything that you do. Really bring value to us, like really.
Thank you.
Really well, and your content is really really good. I just started with music production just a couple months ago, and my first big really push was the Beattober.
Oh, nice
challenge. Yeah, so that really pushed me, through my limits. And but yeah, my one question in mind is, so I got the great opportunity of getting roasted from your previous stream.
Yes, you did an entry. You did an entry where it was just a picture and the little sound thing, right?
Yes, yeah.
Well, but you did another entry where you did a full video, right? You've submitted since then.
Yes.
Yes, and I've glanced at it. I'm diving more into the entries tomorrow, but I was super stoked to see because I kind of remembered you from Beattober, and I knew that you were able to do high quality videos. So I was glad to see that that was kind of just a draft and you did like a full on video for it. So I'm stoked to dive in and actually give it a full actual listen and watch.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, so my question is actually regarding that. So before, when I was like starting out a couple months ago, especially with Beattober, I was like really playing my beats on the MPK Mini.
Yep.
Like doing the drums, all that, like playing the keyboards with it. But then recently I started messing around with like flipping samples and just doing everything in Ableton Live, like just taking the audio clips of even the drums and doing it all there. So I'm not actually like playing anymore on the MIDI keyboard.
Right.
So my question would be, what would be your suggestion for like making good content, of like putting my music out there, especially on like Instagram, TikTok, and all those platforms, and making like videos if I'm not actually like playing anymore on the MIDI controller? Because I thought that it would be weird if I just act like I'm playing on the MIDI
Sure.
keyboard when I didn't really, make it there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, think about it this way, like every music video you've seen from an artist, they're not playing the instruments live. You're hearing the audio of the recorded version. So there's that. You could always do the music video version where you're literally like miming the musical idea because it makes for a great video and it's engaging to watch. I don't like to do that because I don't like to do that for no other reason than it is super hard for me to no, it's not super hard, but like for me to like say I write a beat right now and then I gotta go shoot the video tomorrow. Sometimes it's very hard for me to recreate or remember what I did yesterday. So that's why I like to shoot my videos where I'm actually recording the thing that you're actually hearing. But the step that I took, because what you're talking about is very important, because you want to add that added layer of production value, production quality, because you're going into the arrangement view, you're doing automations, you're doing things that you wouldn't normally do if you were just playing live. And respect, because I go back and do that with my tracks. So 2 things. You could do a hybrid, right? Maybe you play some of the parts in live. Like, it's how easy is it for us to like play in like a kick and a snare? Like, I see a lot of beat makers that literally their whole video is just them playing kick, snare, and they get a fair amount of engagement because it's fun to just watch somebody play, even if it is just that simple. And then, so you do the video and you're just playing 1 or 2 of the parts. Maybe you're playing the drums and then it cuts to you playing the piano part. But it's got all those nice touches of your production that you're going in and doing later. Whether or not you're miming that or whether or not you're actually recording that in for the purposes of the video, I think the video of you performing is super, super important. And I think you can do both. It's not impossible to do both because even though you're adding that production quality at the end, you're doing certain things that maybe can't be replicated live in that video form. There's certain parts that can definitely always be replicated, whether it's a bass line, whether it's the chords, or whether it's the drums. So for you, even if you just did a 15 to 30 second video of you playing just the drum part, but the whole track is playing around it, you know what I mean? There's definitely possibilities. Don't think you have to, it doesn't have to be like Beattober, like where like somebody like me or somebody like you would show the video of playing every single individual part. That's just what I do, and that's just what I do sometimes. I have made simpler videos than that. So don't put yourself in a box that's making things so complicated that you're not able to actually put it out. You know what I mean? You can do a version of both. Still with me? I don't know what happened. We lost sound. Very interesting. Oh, Lorenzo, I can see you chatting, but I don't hear you. Sorry, folks. I don't know what happened. I think we're still live. All right, Lorenzo, I hope that answer was helpful. I don't know what happened. I think it could have been my issue. We're still live. Great. Okay, good to know. Everything flashed here for a second. So I don't know what that's about. But I'm glad we're still live. So that's advice to all of you. Thank you, Lorenzo, for asking that very important question. Lorenzo, participating in Beattober, like anybody who participates in a stream like that is really, really important. It's a really good way to jumpstart your habits. It was a good way for me to refine my sound. And you don't need me to do one of these daily challenges, you know? But I want to jump back to Loic's question about, if I can find it. When you buy a live version, do you have updates? Do you have to buy it again? So you have all the updates for that version. So I bought Live 9, let's say, and then all the updates for Live 9 I get. So 9.5 I remember was a really big update. You get that update with your purchase. When Live 10 came around, the users of the old version can upgrade for a discounted price. So usually, I think the discounted price today, it was cheaper yesterday as a pre-order. Today, it's like $229 or something to upgrade from Live Suite to Live 10 Suite to Live 11 Suite. That is the upgrade price currently. Yeah. And somebody said take advantage of that student discount. That's what I did when I first bought live. Used my college ID to get a solid discount. All right, let's get Rashane in here. Rashane on the track. And I hope my audio works. Rashane, how's it going? One moment, Rashane, because I see your mic lighting up, but I don't hear anything. So let me do a quick sound test and see what the deal is here. We might be having some sound issues. Bear with me, folks. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything out my headphones. That's odd. One moment, please. Let's do this. All right, and I'm going to switch back. Nothing, huh? Well, what's up with that, chat? The interface did not die. The interface is on. Not hearing anything. Check, check, check. You should hear my voice. Can you all hear this music that I'm playing right now? It's a big question. I assume not. Will, chill out, bro, with the all caps. No music. Okay. Well, what I'll do is I will unplug and replug in my interface. So wait one moment, folks. Thank you for being patient. Thank you all for hanging out on this day celebrating Live 11. I think we had a power issue. Default speaker has changed. Let me see. I got Rashane.
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Amazing. I don't know how. Hopefully you all can hear Rashane. Think so. Think we have positive vibes in the chat. Yes. All right. Perfect. You can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Amazing. Don't know what happened there. So that definitely wasn't Lorenzo's fault in the last call. But anyway, hello, Rashane. Remind everybody in the chat where you're calling in from.
I'm in New York. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling in. I hope you're doing well. What you got for a question today?
Yeah, my question was, so I've been watching a lot of like your live streams and like, thank you for that. They've been really helpful.
Appreciate it.
When I'm making beats later. And yeah, I was making a beat for the Spitfire Labs competition, and I
Nice.
finished the beat, but didn't make a video or make a good enough video or get the video where I wanted it to be submit, but I pretty much was just doing it for the challenge. So
Right.
the question is more of like, how do you go about making beat videos? I've never really done them before, and like I definitely am not ready to like say live perform. So
Sure.
what is like a entry level way to like create something?
Totally. I think I touched on it a little bit with Lorenzo, but I think the easiest like entry level way for folks to make videos is like, say you got your basic track, right? You've got your drums, your chords, your bass, your melody line, you know, you've got one of those four elements, I'm sure, in your beats, and you don't want it to be like totally crazy. You don't want to have to edit a bunch of clips together. Literally, like all you have to do, like 15 to 30 second videos are doing really great right now on Instagram because of Reels. So I guess that's one major tip on the front end, is just kind of pay attention to what the platforms are doing, because IGTV was big at one point. So that was long form video. So those videos were getting pushed a lot. Now with Reels, really short form vertical videos are getting pushed a lot. So thinking about that, thinking about like what actual format will the platform favor, so you don't put a bunch of effort into making a 5-minute video and then the platform's not going to push it to anybody because they're pushing 15 to 30 second videos, you know? So back to the like playing the certain elements, if you just make your beat, take your phone and record yourself, like record a cool shot of you and your controller, so we can see both, And it could be like a top-down shot. You know, you see all those fancy top-down shots, and just pick one of those elements and you just let your thing play for 8 bars, and you either play along with it or you record a melody on top of it. And you're doing that in your DAW. So you're doing all the audio and sound recording within your DAW, but the camera is also recording audio. And then later, when you're done shooting, you're going to export what you recorded from your DAW. You're going to take the video from your phone and you're going to line the audio up. You're going to mute the audio from the video and you're going to use just the audio that came out of your DAW so that it's full quality. Not just, I mean, sometimes it's okay to post a casual video where it's just audio from your phone. I think it's also a game of like the more you post, the more people will see what you're doing. So it's okay to do the more casual stuff. But for a fully produced beat video, totally like just pick one element. Like it doesn't have to be crazy. Pick one element, pick one angle. And then maybe when you're more comfortable, you're like, okay, I'm going to shoot the drums from this angle. And then I'm going to shoot the melody line from that angle. And then I'm going to put the video together. Like I'm going to go a little deeper and like edit 2 clips together. You know what I mean?
I see. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I didn't realize you played the track out loud. That kind of makes sense now. What I've used to been doing is just recording my DAW, but I'm trying to move away from that because it's just boring watching like, you know, your arrangement view timeline move.
Exactly. Like you got to just think about like what's interesting for people to see. And for people like us, it's interesting to see somebody, you know, playing on their instruments, interesting seeing people's gear. It's also interesting seeing people's faces. Like some artists just show their hands, you know, and I would rather connect an artist to a face. And I think that's better for you in the long run, to show your face and to show your identity as an artist for sure. And Audio Duck just said in the chat, that's how you do it to start. Use iMovie. And that's exactly how I started, actually. I used iMovie on my iPad. Like when I tell you, Rashane, I hated everything about video production when I started this channel. I hated everything about video production. And I tried to find the easiest ways because I knew if I was going to be miserable, like doing all the video stuff, that I wasn't actually going to put anything out. So I took my Android phone, I recorded on that, I uploaded the video files to Google Drive, and I downloaded them on my iPad and edited it in iMovie because it was the easiest thing. But then, and like, if I had not started that way with like kind of like cheap, like busted looking videos, I wouldn't be making the quality videos I am today because I didn't shoot for like, oh, let me get 2 cameras to set up and let me make sure it's in 4K HD and let me use Final Cut so I can edit all these like motion stuff in there. If I had started with that, I would have been so bogged down in the process of that I would have been disgruntled. But starting just with what you have, one angle, one part, just sync the audio, boom, like make it super achievable for yourself. And then you'll find the spark after doing that for a little while to take it one step further and then one step further than that. And then so on and so on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Like very, very simple steps is the way to go. As long, basically anything you can do besides just record your arrangement timeline will serve you so well.
Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah. But thanks for participating in the competition and thanks for always hanging out in the streams.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for doing it. It's been great. Like I know you've gotten more consistent lately with the streams and they've been really helpful just to watch your process.
That's good to hear. I'm going to keep it coming.
And one last question.
Sure.
Do you recommend like for starting out, like I have an actual like camera, but do you recommend like a camera over say like a smartphone?
Do you like using your
Yeah.
camera? Like, are you fond of using the camera?
Yeah, like I've gotten comfortable with it. Like I bought the camera recently because my phone was like too old.
Yeah.
And like dying on me. So I got a new camera to start shooting videos. So
Yeah.
the camera has been good. I've just been, I don't know about formats yet and stuff like that. So I'm still
For
wondering
sure.
like what's the best
If
thing when it comes to at least Instagram.
if the camera is not a roadblock, yes, use the camera. Use what's going to give you the best visual quality, and just do a little
Okay.
bit of research around like you just said, formats. And I can tell you right off the bat, and you don't have to write it down because you can go back and rewind the stream and just remember that I said this. But in the Instagram timeline for posts under a minute, the dimensions should be 1080 by 1350. That's like a that's like a short rectangle. It's not the full screen. The full screen is 1080 by 1920. But the smaller version of that fits into the Instagram feed, that's the biggest format you can put in the Instagram feed, is 1080 by 1350. When you're scrolling through, that takes up most of the frame, gets more engagement. For stories or IGTV or even reels are 9 by 16. That's the 1080 by 1920. But you probably recognize that dimension because if you turn your phone to the side, you get the normal widescreen dimensions, 1920 by 1080. Yeah. So just think about that when you're shooting. So the biggest thing is either while you're shooting, know that you're going to crop the video to be that size. So for my videos, for instance, I always shoot wide. So this way, 9 by 16, but 16 by 9 wide, but I center everything because I know I'm going to crop it to be 1080 by 1350. The other thing you could do is just shoot vertical. Take the camera, don't hold it the right way, hold it sideways basically, and boom, you can shoot this way. And that's going to give you a vertical video that is easier to edit later because you're just basically chopping off the top, chopping off the bottom, and you don't have to worry about what's on the sides. It's easier to frame it. So just think about that when you're shooting. I hope that wasn't an overwhelming amount of information.
No, that was very helpful.
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect. All right. Well, Rashane, thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, have a good one.
Have a good one. Great call. Great call. Yeah, video making. I got to do a whole dedicated video on making videos. All right, folks. Don't call anymore. Everybody who's in the waiting room, I will take your calls. But we are going overtime, but that's okay because it's a fun day. And what else do I have to do today besides watch Frenemies? Okay, so it's time for a very special segment from a young man from across the world from California who calls in every call-in show, and he's so knowledgeable and asks such good questions that we give him his own segment. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. This is my segment, Samuel Says.
Samuel, welcome to the show. How's it going, my friend? Samuel, hold on. I just want to put out there. So we just wrapped up a competition, the labs competition. The entries ended yesterday. And we did a roast session last week where I looked at people's entries and I gave feedback. And what I want to say is Samuel had a draft posted that day and I roasted his draft and he went and crushed it on his entry and his video is fire. So you should all go check out his Instagram so you can check out his cool beat video. That's all.
Bro, your imaginative roasts are so funny. Like
I tried.
I was wondering where the imagination came from.
It's just you guys don't even know. Joseph McCaffrey knows, but y'all don't know. Oh, Joseph McCaffrey says we're going for a walk today. What? I gotta watch Frenemies, bro. All right. Anyway, welcome back to the show, Samuel. What do you have for us this week, Samuel? Are you upgrading to Live 11? Is my question.
Yeah, about that. So one of my questions were, how do I upgrade? Because I bought Live 10 before the sale or free upgrade to Live 11 thing ended, but now I'm scared to delete Live 10 or Live 10 standard to upgrade to Live 11. Well, I'm scared it deletes some preferences or anything.
Well, you don't have to delete Live 10. You can have them both installed. So what I would do is just leave Live 10 on your computer for now and then download your Live 11 version and just keep them both on your computer for now. It'll be under, if you already bought it.
Storage is literally dying.
Yeah, but
dying.
it doesn't re-download the whole I could be wrong about this. I'm not sure that it re-downloads the whole library and everything. But if you have to make room, just see what you can get away with. You should be able to, at bare minimum, download just the application of Live 11, and it's pretty good about just bringing in your preferences and user library and stuff like that. Between editions, I've never really had an issue with that.
Okay.
But you'll have enough room to at least download just Live 11. Like that's not that much room. It's the libraries that take up the most room.
Yeah. Okay. So next thing about the contest, dude, thank you so much. Like, it's just the inspiration of watching so many other people doing this, or like almost the same thing as you, and like being in the same constraints as you. It's just very inspiring.
For sure. Like, I agree. Like, it's inspiring for me to watch it all happen and watch it all come in and watch people like you post drafts and then post like improved versions. Lorenzo too is another good example of that. I think it's so great to see people from all over the place all doing all the same things. I don't know. It's great. I have not reviewed all the entries. I've only seen a few in my, like, every time someone mentions me in a story, it gets put into like my DM like thing, my requests. So I've been looking a little bit, but between today and tomorrow, I'm literally, it's over 100 posts. I have to go and look at all of them and pick a top 10, and that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, the community crushed this challenge.
Yeah, for sure. They crushed it, and it makes me like excited for next October, you know, next Beattober. I mean, this year was great,
right.
But next year is going to be like even better, I'm sure.
Can't wait.
For sure. Yeah. What else? What else you got for me, Samuel?
And to talk about how janky my setup was for my official submission, I literally stuck my phone to a broom pole and attached the broom pole to my chest of drawers. It's literally hilarious.
Dude, if people out there like trying to film your stuff, if you're not setting up something janky to get the overhead shot, you're doing something wrong, because you need the janky setup if you don't have the gear. And what I used to do was take my Gorilla Pod, you know, that like janky like tripod thing, and wrap it around a mic stand and then like extend the mic stand over my desk or whatever. But it would be too much weight. The camera would pull it down, or the phone would pull it down. So I'd have to weigh it down with books on one end. So I'd have this really janky thing that was about to fall if anybody moved it at any moment. It was pretty intense. So
dude, I can like.
That's the way to go.
It's insane. Yeah.
All right.
Anything janky that works, that looks cool.
Last question / comment, Samuel. Make it a good one.
Sure. I recently got some monitors, the PreSonus 3.5s, Eurus 3.5s.
Very nice.
And I'm wondering why PreSonus don't just calibrate them while they're in the factory. Like, I don't know if the amount of bass is normal, but like the bass is really loud.
Well, Samuel, when you calibrate monitors, what are you calibrating them for?
Just to have like a flat frequency spectrum thingy.
But what changes the response from the monitors?
EQ?
No. Well, I mean, you EQ it to change the different, like you adjust the frequencies, but it's always based on the Eternal Wolf said it
No
in the
idea,
chat.
just you say it.
It's based on the room, my friend, based on the room. So monitors get calibrated for the room. It's not like you can just send out monitors that are going to work in every single room. That's why. So they send it out with whatever the default setting is. Do those, I know those are kind of little monitors. Do they have knobs on the back for bass response or anything?
Yeah, they have high frequency and low frequency.
And it's like a dial that you can turn up and down?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at a certain stage, like my room right here isn't treated. I don't have my monitors like properly calibrated. Even the KRK RP5s that I have, they're not calibrated. They're in my bedroom. But at this stage, it doesn't matter too much. Just get it. What you need to do is you need to play a bunch of tracks that you like, that are like professionally produced tracks, and play them so that they sound how they're supposed to sound through the speakers, because you probably know how they're supposed to sound because they're professionally produced tracks. And then, so that's one way you can quote unquote calibrate your speakers, or just adjust them so you know you're getting the right sound. Because if you're just doing it based on your tracks and your music, and you're just learning about mixing and all that stuff, then they're all going to be all out of whack, and you're going to either boost the bass too much or boost the highs too much or whatever. So make a playlist of a bunch of the tracks that you like that are in a similar style to the ones that you're making, and just listen to those through those speakers and realize like, oh, the bass is like a little bit too boomy. Let me bring it down. Or the highs need a little bit of a boost, whatever it may be, and get those sounding good. And then you'll be ready. And then you're going to make your tracks based on that. So like once you go to make your track and your speakers are set, you're not going to touch them anymore. So if you start making your track and you're like, oh man, there's not enough bass in this track, you're not going to touch the monitors. You're going to solve it in your mix. You're going to solve it in the kick drum that you choose. You're going to solve it in the bass that you're using. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and even either way is like the dials are so hard to get to because like I have a wall right behind it, so like it's blocking my hand.
Right. Yeah. Well, perfect. Set them and don't ever touch them again.
Sure. Good advice.
All right.
R.I.P. Daft Punk.
R.I.P.
Just woke
Daft
up
Punk.
today.
Peace and love. Shout out to their family. I'm sure they'll be back again one day. That's my prediction.
That's everyone's prediction.
Yeah.
Like it happens.
It happens, you know. Committed relationship for 20-something years, you know. Things happen. You got to move on. I'm sure they don't want to be Daft Punk for their whole lives. People on these calls can't decide what genre of music they want to make. Meanwhile, Daft Punk's out here making music for 20-something years, committed to this idea of Daft Punk wearing helmets and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Tony says Tron 3. Yeah, rip Tron 3 score. Well, Samuel, thank you for calling in. I got to take the rest of the calls. Will I see you on tonight's stream is the question.
Yeah.
Lit. All right.
Basically, you're every stream.
I know it, and I see you there every stream. Lit. I'll see you tonight.
Okay, sure. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for calling. Peace out. All right, let's keep it rolling. I got Herschel, Aaron, and Ghost Light, and that is the order I will take them in. Herschel, here we go. What are those fancy mats you're playing with, says Phil. Phil, the fancy mats are from the Sensor Morph. Hello, Herschel, you're muted. Herschel has a cool studio that I can see, but I cannot hear. It's in Zoom that you're muted, I believe. There we go. Hello, Herschel. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Thank you for doing this call-in. That's super cool.
Thanks for calling in. I like your studio. It's very cool.
Oh, thank you so much. And actually, I'm Eternal Wolf in the chat.
Oh,
just so you
Eternal
know.
Wolf. Good to know. Good to know.
So my question is, basically, I'm a month from graduating with a bachelor's degree for audio production.
Awesome.
And
Congratulations.
Last year, thank you so much. So the end of last year, I started an LLC, Eternal Wolf Music. And I've done a couple projects with people, but I was really hoping I could pick your brain about ways to market myself more efficiently, to hopefully grow my business. I started a YouTube channel because free advertisement, but obviously it takes a while to grow a following. So I was just wondering if you had any advice for me.
Yeah. Well, are you laser focused on what you want to do? Like what exactly you want to do now that you've got this degree?
Yeah, so I'm really big into like music production. My whole my mission statement basically is that I want to make the process of making music more accessible for people, because I was a musician for years and I couldn't afford to record. So I want to streamline it to where I'll make a beat for someone and they can record their vocals and send it to me, and I'll process the vocals, put it in the track, and send them something that they can then send to a mixer and master.
Totally. So you want to be you just want to be a full-on producer. You're going to make the instrumentals, you're going to mix the vocals.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I mean, you're doing what literally everybody wants to do. So that's the thing about this is like that the competition is wild out there. And there are plenty of people that want to just jump into people's DMs and be like, yo, let me do this for you. Let me do this for you, whatever. And the best thing, I know you talked about a YouTube channel, and leveraging social media and TikTok and anything else that becomes popular within the next 3 to 5 years is going to be super crucial for you building that business. But one thing you said that stood out to me is you talked about YouTube as free advertising. And if you know about my channel, in my audience, my community, of course, because you're part of it, I never viewed my channel as any type of free advertising or anything. The goal was always to build a community around me making music and me making stuff and me sharing my knowledge, but it was never to make the sale. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
that said,
I get that.
that said, people have come around and have bought merch, have become members. When the Patreon was around, became patrons. People became to know, like, especially on Instagram, became to know me as a beat maker and would hit me up like, can you make a beat video for this? Can you make beats for this? And those became paying jobs, you know? So laying the groundwork via social media you have to be super organic, and you do have all this knowledge. You just got yourself a college degree, so I'm sure you learned a lot that you can pass on for free. And if you pass on as much knowledge as possible, like knowledge that people are actually asking for, and you document like your journey along the way. So like if you do want to produce tracks for people, then you need to make some fire content that goes out there and that tons of people see and they go, wow, I want that beat, or I want a beat from that guy. Because what I've done for myself is done so many beat videos and so many like performance videos, whatever. People kind of know what to expect and they know what I'm capable of. So they can hit me up and say, hey, can you do this? I'd like to pay you to do this. You have to build up that huge library, like backlog of like content and putting stuff out there in the meantime, before people start coming to you for that service particularly. So just continue to build that up, share as much knowledge as possible, make as much fire, put it out there as much as you can, be relentless about it. And then also, a lot of people try to offer something for free, but get something in return. But if you can somehow nail the getting, like your business model, right? Your mission statement, you want to make a beat, get a vocalist on it, then you make the fire track. Then I would find a bunch of vocalists that are on the same level as you in terms of quality, in terms of audience. Find them, connect with them on social media, and literally just say, hey, do you like any of these beats? Send them, don't send them a link to download or anything. Have a robust enough Instagram account where you're like, hey, go on my page. If you like any of these beats, I would like to collaborate with you if you want to write lyrics on them. Because that's a fair exchange. You're a beat maker and a producer who needs to work with vocalists. Vocalists need instrumental tracks that they can sing over. And they need like dope instrumental tracks that they can sing over. That's a fair exchange. Okay. If you can find people to collaborate with that, boom. Where people get it wrong is they'd be like, hey, I want to send you 5 beats. Would you pay $10? And they ask too soon. It's like, no, I don't know you. I don't even know if these beats are good enough, whatever. Like forget about profit and business for the next at least 12 months and just build up your name, build up your work, build up basically your portfolio. Like I don't have like a portfolio. I don't really have like a official like website where people can go and view my work. You know, that's what my Instagram is. That's what my YouTube channel is. That's what all this stuff is. So if you make enough fire and put enough stuff out there, people will either come to you, or when you do feel like approaching people that are on the same level as you, like don't DM Cardi B and be like, would love to work with you. Can I send you 5 free beats? That's not a fair exchange either, you know?
Right.
But find those vocalists. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think I phrased that wrong as far as the free advertisement thing. I just meant it's a free way to get my name and my sound out there. Because realistically, my channel isn't even focused on production. What I do is I'll make a beat and then I go on like streaming platforms like Omegle and play guitar over it for people's enjoyment.
Cool.
But it was a way to get people to know who I am rather than just some random guy like, hey, here's a beat.
Yeah, you're down finding unique ways to stand out, because there is a lot of that. Like some guy just like, hey, I'm making a beat. It's very hard to break in because there are so many, especially dudes, trying to do that same exact thing. So what you're doing with trying to be creative and go on Omegle, like take that one step further. Like me and Justin McCaffrey introduced me to this guy, Harry Mack, I think his name is, on Omegle, who does like freestyles on Omegle. That is super smart content, because all he does is like go on Omegle, they give him some words. Not all he does, I'm not reducing it. And then he does fire freestyles. But that works because he does fire freestyles and it makes for great content and people react to it. So if you can find a version of that works for you, even if it's not on Omegle in particular, even if it is like you make it more story driven, you find those vocalists that really want to work with you. Say you DM like 50 vocalists, not saying to spam, these should all be like personalized like messages because you actually like what they do. And you connect with even one out of those 50 and they have a great voice and they're really down with what you do. Maybe it's a thing where it's like you make a piece of content that's like vocalist reacts to my beats, and then you have that piece of content, and then it's like vocalist wrote a verse over one of my beats, and then it's you mixing the verse over that beat, and it's like we get the whole journey. You know, if you become a guy who can do that, that's something that really nobody's doing, that's really different, that's pretty entertaining. And then imagine if the end result is you guys end up putting the track on Spotify and it gets 1 million plays or something like that, or it gets playlisted. You know, like that won't happen every time, but the genius of that blueprint that you could build a content pipeline for yourself like that, I think it's really exciting, especially if that really is like your blueprint and what you want to do. I think it could make a great could make for some great content. You should consider stuff like that. Keep thinking like outside the box. Like the thing with you thinking about Omegle already tells me that you're already trying to think about ways to keep things interesting. So keep doing that. Keep pushing that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you calling in, man, and I appreciate you tuning into a bunch of the streams and always being active in the chat. So thank you for that.
Thank you, man. Yeah, what you do is awesome. Like, there's not a lot of, like someone else said it, there's not a lot of YouTubers who are accessible to ask a question to. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Good show today, folks. We got one more call to take. If I'm missing your questions in the chat, I apologize. This has been a great call-in show. I'm excited. I said earlier on my Twitter that I was downloading Live 11 while I made waffles, but that was a lie. So I'm going to download it after I get off this stream. Though I've been using the beta, so it's not as exciting, but it is still exciting. Ghostlight, how are you?
Yo, what's up, buddy? How's it going, man?
I am chilling. How are you? Where are you calling in from?
I'm from Flint, Michigan, man. I'm from Flint, Michigan. What's that? Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask a question. How are things in Flint, Michigan?
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I'm born and raised here all my life. It's a pretty interesting town. It's kind of like it's a mediator in the mitten, you know? So we used to have a ton of General Motors plants here.
Yeah.
Like probably like 18 of them.
Wow.
We're down to 1.
Wow.
And so, yeah, the population in the 80s was nearly 200,000 people, and now it's down to probably around 60.
That's crazy. And
it's
how
nuts, man. And, and then there's the water situation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How is the water situation?
Yeah. It's getting better. I mean, they're working on it.
That's unbelievable to me. Years later, and you're not even able to say like it's 100% better. You're able to say it's getting better.
Crazy, man. Flint, Michigan. I tell you, and you know, I'll get on to my question because I know I'm the last one, but it's an interesting place to grow up because the city was built like a metropolitan city, like Detroit or Chicago or anything. So it has this ginormous infrastructure underneath of it.
Right.
And so like when the water stuff happened, it was kind of like when you lose over 50% of the population, all those houses are abandoned or empty or not there anymore. Mm-hmm. That water still has to flow through those pipes. Right. So like that infrastructure there, unless you rip up the entire city, it's a tough thing to do. But
wow.
But dude, I had to get on. I seen that you were live. I had to tell you, man, your channel blows me away. Like, and I'm sure all these people in chat feel the same way. You're incredible, dude. Your videos are fire. Like 100% fire.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So a little bit of my background is I love music, man. Like, but I've never been able to play an instrument. I mean, I just grew up. I mean, I have a huge vinyl collection. I spend. I mean, anybody that's into audio knows that the sky's the limit. But I feel like I go a little bit above, just to enjoy music. and I really got hit hard by watching Stranger Things.
Oh, interesting.
I thought that I've always loved movie scores and video game soundtracks and things like that. But when I heard those guys, which I believe they're Survive, that's their band, the two brothers or whatever,
Yeah.
the ones that got the job working on the show. But when I heard that, it sort of like it awoken something in me into a synthwave vibe that I've never really been into electronic music, mostly just rock, hip hop, rap.
Sure.
So
But there's
it
a
took me
little
into, like,
there's a little crossover in the grittiness, especially in the Stranger Things score. It does have that 80s homage to it, but the way some of those synths sound a little bit gritty and sound a little bit dirty, it's not unlike a guitar. It's not unlike some of the tendencies of rock music,
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's how I feel about it. And so, like, when I started to get into that vibe, I started to try to look up some things, different style of music, and I found your channel on YouTube, which is how I got to you.
Awesome.
And I started watching some of your videos, and what was funny was that I knew playing music now is the easiest it's ever been, as far as like for someone that doesn't know anything about music, how to play an instrument or anything like that. But you got me to go out and get the MPK Mini 3.
Nice.
I got the same one that's over your shoulder there, and I've been messing around with it. Now, here's the thing: is like I'm the opposite of the last guy you talked to. Like, I'm the guy that doesn't know how to play. I'm the guy that doesn't like ever think I'm going to make any money from it. It is literally going to just be a hobby for me.
That's
like just something that I want to do. Like, instead of playing video games, I'm also maybe today I'm going to try to make a beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like where my mindset's at. So with the MPK Mini, as you know, it comes with MPC Beats. And I'm messing around with it, and to me it's very difficult, not playing the music necessarily, but getting everything,
navigating the software.
My God, man. Like, and I'm very computer savvy. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
you're not
video
dumb
games,
is what
like,
you're trying to say.
right.
Yeah.
And to me though, like it's like, okay, I want to set up this bank of beats, or I want to have these keys make this sound or something. Like, I feel like that's an impossibility. Now, is MPC, I guess that's a two-part question. Is MPC Beats, like, is it worth someone like me to pay the money for something like Ableton 11? And trust me, I've been watching since I found you. I've also found a lot of other people, and I noticed that is the staple right now. Like, that is the program to have and to use. And I see you using it, and I see a lot of other people using it. But there is a huge cost there, right?
Totally.
And so that's kind of like one of my questions to you is like, is that cost? Because I'm assuming you've always kind of known how to play, right? I mean, you've probably been playing most of your life. I would.
Well,
assume,
I am similar to you in that I came from a kind of a rock background, more of like a pop punk background, actually. So I started playing guitar, and then I learned keyboard.
Okay.
And then eventually I went to school for music. So I had to take like proper like piano classes. So I have that training behind me. But when I was much younger, it was similar to you. Like, I really loved music. I didn't have any formal training, and I was pretty much totally self-taught. And with this electronic music stuff, I still am pretty much self-taught, even though I'm learning from people like on YouTube, like similar to how everybody else learns.
Oh, man.
But is it worth it? So I talked about Live 11, the versions earlier, and the light version. Well,
Okay.
Here's the thing. Let me affirm what you're saying about MPC Beats. You're not dumb. It is not user-friendly. It is not intuitive. It is a struggle, and it takes the joy out of making music. So shout out to a company like Akai for like offering a free program with
and
their
I know,
hardware.
they're all expensive, but yeah, I was like, well, it comes with it, and it's such a good controller that I thought, well, it doesn't work like that.
Right. And it is still a good controller. And I guess some people are diehard Akai fans and maybe have no problem with MPC Beats and are just more used to that style of workflow. However, for me, it is absolutely unintuitive and difficult to work with and not great.
God, I'm so glad you're saying that. Oh,
yeah.
I'm so glad you're saying that to me, man.
Yeah. And the reason,
like, honestly,
like the reason you see me working with Ableton Live is because since I was probably like 15 years old, I tried a bunch of different programs and Ableton Live just clicked for me. Like and saying that it clicked doesn't mean that it was easy. Doesn't mean that you pick it up and just immediately start making amazing tracks. But it clicked enough for me that I was motivated to go and do the research and learn how to use it. And as I did that, I felt like I was progressing and I felt like things made sense. So it kept propelling me forward. There's that. So in terms of for you, like as a person who's a hobbyist and you don't want to necessarily invest like too much money, like yet, maybe sometime in the future, but like I think of people that play guitar, right? Like a beginner guitar setup. If you wanted like a very beginner guitar and you want the little amp that comes with it, the cable, some picks, like you're gonna spend around $200 probably for that beginner setup for a quality that you're gonna be able to learn on. So you're in it for like 100 or something with the MPK already. Live Lite, the smallest version of Live is 99. I think that's a pretty good entry. However, Live still has, and what I wanted to look up that I didn't before the stream was, Live has a 90-day free trial, like an unlimited free trial of Live Suite. I think that's still, if it was 30 days before the pandemic and they made it 90 days, I don't know what the status of it is now, especially with the release of Live 11, but they've always had this. So you can try it for free. And if you do that, you can spend at least 30 days, if it's not still 90 days, really diving in and making a decision whether or not you really want to stick with it, whether or not it clicks for you, it clicks with the workflow.
Now, is that $90 version, is that like I know I was watching as you were going over the different versions, and like it kind of sucks to be the guy that doesn't know anything, because I wasn't really sure as far as like, what some of those options are.
Dude,
I noticed that
the
other one has so many instruments and so many like different things. Like, are those files like, are they necessary? I guess, like, I mean, like, can you still see, that's something I was going to tell you too. Like, I would love to see you do something of like very minimalistic and like try and turn it into something, like take the most stock basic beats of something and like turn it into something incredible, man.
Absolutely. I feel that for sure. I just brought up the list so that I can look at it again. And I've actually done some content with Live Lite before, and I'm thinking about doing a little bit more, because what you're saying is totally valid. Like feeling like it's a little bit of FOMO. Like, if I get Live Lite, am I going to be missing out on, all the stuff
like
and
being
all the
able
other
to make
modes?
some, like, just because
I'll say to that is, like, the stage you're at, like having too many options is almost like debilitating. And
you were just
confusing.
saying that about video making also.
Yes.
To that other caller, which, I mean, that's a perfect example for sure.
So like, first of all, do the free trial first and see what you like in there, and then decide if maybe you do want to like invest and get the standard version at least. But for the light version at $99, you get a fair amount of audio effects, MIDI effects. In terms of sounds, it says 5+ gigabytes, and there's a pack called Chop and Swing, which is a pretty good pack of like different samples and presets.
Okay.
And then you're able to have up to 16 tracks, which is plenty. I think one of the biggest amateur mistakes is we put too much in our tracks, and having 16, being limited to 16 is not a huge deal. You will, but the thing about this is, like, as you're, it's all about like, you're kind of like hedging a little bit. Like, am I really going to dive deep into this? And if you are, and if you love it, what will happen is you will upgrade. Like the same thing as the person who buys the $200 beginner guitar setup. They will, if they love guitar and they stick with guitar,
they'll go buy a Taylor or something.
Exactly. Like when they get their tax return or whatever, they'll go out and buy like a really nice guitar for themselves or a really nice amp. You know what I mean? So it is a little bit of that, like electronic music, no different from all these other kinds of, ways of learning and making music, and don't feel like limitations. Like, even though if you want to buy a cheaper version of a software to keep it limited, don't feel like that is necessarily a detriment. You might start learning the software and say, oh, I really wish I had that. I really wish I had that. The other thing about this too is you could buy Live Intro. I was saying Live Lite before, but I meant Live Intro. and you could find a third-party plugin, because there are lots of plugin makers that make different kinds of instruments. Like Arturia has a lot of retro synths, because you mentioned that at the beginning, being influenced by Stranger Things. And it gets to a point where it can be like a la carte for you. Or you could put a heavy investment into like saying, I'm going to download all of Analog Lab, which is probably like the most expensive. Or you can say, oh, I just want to download the Juno like synth, or I just want to get Pigments.
Are those like monthly? Or like do you just pay them like you would Spotify or something to be able to use their samples, or like how does that work?
Well, these are
you just have to buy
more like virtual instruments, and I'm not sure the payment structure. So like, say you wanted to buy the Juno synth from Arturia, I'm certain that you can just go to the store, you can just buy it outright, and you load it up in Ableton Live like it's a virtual instrument, and then you just have it.
Okay.
There are other things like Serum is a very popular synth for a lot of people who make EDM. It's just a very popular synth overall that I have, and I actually bought Serum through Splice, and I paid for it monthly, which actually made it so I didn't have to drop a bunch of cash all at once.
Yeah. Oh, I saw you talking about the monthly plan too. I was thinking about that as well.
Yeah, and the fact that I could just add it to my Splice subscription made it really cool. Like, the installment plans are great. And Taylor Deemer in the chat says there are installment plans. So yeah, I think most of these companies have installment plans, but yeah, and it's called like rent to own. But it's not like a subscription where like if you want an Arturia synth, you have to pay every month in perpetuity. It's like it just has a cost associated with it. You buy it and then boom, you get it.
I think sometimes there's just such an unspoken thing about people that don't plan on making money from music at all, and just want to be a hobbyist. I mean, I guess like if you find out you're good at it, then why wouldn't you make money at it? I suppose is kind of how it goes. But you know, it's like, I mean, like that's not technically my lane, you know. So but that was it, man. I mean, I was gonna ask you like if you could do like maybe an MPC Beats tutorial, but you know what, maybe I will throw in Ableton. And I know that your channel, I've seen a lot of tutorial videos for that, and I just, you know, I'm like everyone else here, man. You're incredible, dude. Like your videos are awesome. You do a great job, and you know, we enjoy the content, man. That video that you went out in that van and drove out to it looked like the Rockies out there.
That was in a few different places. That was in lots of different spots. The failure video.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like that was fire. That was clean. I really enjoy your content, man, and please keep it up. And yeah, you've definitely got a fan out of me, man. But yeah, if I could request like maybe on the next beat track that you do, if you could throw some synth in there, man, like get some of that stuff going for us.
Totally. Yeah. I've got, actually, if you look on the channel, if you just search it up, maybe I've got a Stranger Things inspired beat video that I did with the Rolly blocks. So that's worth checking out, because I made it like around when the last season came out or something, and it was Stranger Things inspired. So you probably enjoy that.
I gotta go watch that.
Yeah,
I haven't got through you've got a ton of content, man. I've been going through and just kind of picking and pulling out some stuff. And it started, like I said, with the MPK Mini 3 was when I found your channel. So
perfect.
I've kind of been watching everything up until that point, but it's just been really nice, man, getting to know you. And yeah, keep up the good work, dude. I'll let you get back to it.
Thank you so much, man. Have a good one.
You too, brother. Later.
Everyone's so nice today. What's up with that? But for folks who don't know, live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Be live again tonight. I'll be live again tonight at 7 p.m. PST. The pre-stream is already up, so you can already go to my channel. On the front page of the channel, you will see. You'll be able to click set reminder. We're going to be making lots of stuff in Live 11 tonight, trying out the new features. I have to go download all this stuff now. What else was I gonna say? Oh, the last thing about like that call that's important is a lot of you like do pick up the free software, and what you find is there's probably not a lot of great resources for stuff like MPC Beats, but for stuff like Ableton Live, the thing about it is, yes, it's more of an investment, but if more people are using it and more people are teaching it, like more people are demonstrating it, then it's gonna be easier for you to learn. So that's just one thing I'll say. Tony, your girl's like, great. Thanks so much for tuning in. Yeah, the last thing I say about that is when you're doing research to pick a program, do look at the content creators and the people that you're going to be learning from and see what they're using, because That has to do with access and accessibility. So there's lots of access for MPC Beats, right? MPC Beats is free, so there's 100% access. Anybody can get it. In terms of accessibility, if the user experience is bad and the workflow is bad and there aren't a lot of great resources out there for it, it's not actually accessible. You have access to it, but it's not accessible. Accessibility is there's a program and lots of people teach it, and lots of people teach it in ways that you can understand. That is what this channel is about. So that's it for today's show. We went a little bit long today, but please go to 343labs.com/handbook for all of you that are getting into Live 11, because we're working really hard on this 60 video comprehensive handbook, and we're rolling out videos each week, more and more and more videos. So if you're just learning Live, it's a perfect resource for you. It's taught by Claire Marie Lim, Ableton certified trainer, aka Daltrick, who's so dope. Yeah. 343 TV is live every single day on youtube.com/343labs. So I know you all have been enjoying my live streams on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. However, if all those other days in between you want to watch another electronic music-based show where you can learn something, subscribe to youtube.com/343labs. I believe the link is in the description. There's also courses there too. I hope to see you all on tonight's stream, because we're going to have a lot of fun with Live 11. I know some of you were asking about the Sensormorph. I'm going to use the Sensormorph tonight to demonstrate some of that MPE stuff. And you guys will be able to shout out like, hey, I want to see this new feature. I want to see this new feature. Yeah, voice crack, Ash. Is that all right with you? Gosh, I've been talking for like 2 hours. Can I have a voice crack here and there? LOL. Thank you to all the members. I appreciate you all. Should be a fun night. Members at the VIP tier and above, please check the community tab, because the members only live stream is happening on Friday. If you are a member and you want to upgrade to VIP, and you can join the members only call-in show, and we're going to do a thing about analyzing music. Yeah. So become a member at the VIP tier above, get the Shore sample pack for free. Join our members only stream on Friday. That's about it. I hope to see you all tonight. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, because I will post a swipe up to the stream. Make sure you're following me on Twitter, because I will post a link to the stream. Go to 343labs.com/handbook to download the new video handbook that will be rolling out every single week with new instructional videos about Live 11 and all the features. Ash, the stream tonight is at 7 p.m. PST. Join me tonight at 7 p.m. PST on my channel. The pre-stream is already up. Thank you all so much for watching. That's going to be it today. Tomorrow, Justin Beck is on 343 TV talking about compression. So, thank you all so much for watching. This has been TAETRO. Have a good one.